Hi, welcome to episode 57 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at the Corner of Knit and Tea, and that's where this episode's show notes will be. And I have an Etsy shop, The Stash Buckler, Adventures in Yarn, where I sell my hand-spun yarns. And finally, we have a Ravelry group called the Corner of Knit and Tea. Please come on over and check it out. Hi! I hope you've had a wonderful week and weekend. It has been absolutely lovely here. Fall came with a vengeance this week, and the last few days have been delightfully chilly. I have pulled out some of my sweaters and shawls, and I've really been enjoying it. We're supposed to warm up again a little bit this week, which actually has me a little bit disappointed. I like fall weather, but it has been absolutely lovely. The week went by fairly quickly. Work was kind of busy, and the weekend has been great so far, although it has also been busy. Yesterday morning, I went to another meeting of Mrs. Wilson's Knitting Circle at the National World War I Museum here in Kansas City. And yesterday, the lecture was about the role of volunteer medical aides, particularly that served in a hospital in Great Britain. And so we learned quite a bit about what they did and how they helped in the war effort, and many of them were Americans who were sent abroad to help. So it was kind of an interesting lecture, and then afterwards, it was such a beautiful day. We went, and my good friend Anna kindly shot some photos of the shawl, so we did a little photo shoot yesterday. So now I have all my photos ready, and I am putting the finishing touches on the pattern. I don't have an exact publishing date for it yet, but it will be sometime in the next couple weeks. And so keep your eyes open. I will obviously announce it on Instagram and on Twitter and in the Ravelry group. And it will go up on Ravelry. So I'm super excited about that. It is all coming together, and I'm just so very pleased with it. So that was yesterday, and then today we have a bunch of friends who are going to the Renaissance Festival here in Kansas City. So I am podcasting early in the morning. It is not quite 9 a.m. yet on Sunday, and we are going to head out and hang out with them for several hours. And my husband is very keen on getting a roasted turkey leg and some mead. So that is in our plans today. I'm actually going to bring a sock to work on because we're going to watch the jousting tournament and kind of wander and shop, and so it should be a great time. And the weather is just a little bit chilly. We'll take layers, and it'll be fine by this afternoon. And then I have a few chores as is usual for Sunday, and some knitting I'd like to accomplish, and that's about it. So I will get right into the podcast. Today I am drinking a new to me tea. This is 20 herbs from the Republic of Tea. And I order these individual foil wrapped teas to go out with yarn. And I ordered this one and thought, I really want to try this. It is rooibos, allspice leaves, cinnamon, black lemon, peppermint, wintergreen, birch bark, hibiscus, lemon balm, allspice berries, chamomile, carob, vanilla extract, lemongrass, anise seeds, sweet blackberry leaves, chicory, rose petals, eleuthero, and linden flowers. So that is definitely a cacophony of 20 herbs. It is a caffeine-free herbal tea. I have to admit that I'm not a huge fan of rooibos, but with all these other things, I really thought I wanted to try it. And I certainly want to try it before I send it out in a package with yarns, because I like to send out the teas that I love. So I decided to try this one. I am drinking it in my Dear Karma, I Have a List of People You Missed mug, which is an enormous mug given to me by Sam Kermit Von Frog of Come Knit With Us. And I love this mug and was ready for a good mug of hot tea. It's about 65 in the house, Fahrenheit, so it's a little bit chilly, and I'm ready for some tea. Ooh, that is quite good. Like I said, I'm not generally a fan of rooibos, but all of these other herbs really kind of overpower the rooibos. So it is quite delicious. Really like that. So I will have to sip on that today. So that is 20 Erms tea from the Republic of Tea. Again, all of this information will be in the show notes over at thecornerofknitandtea.com. So, I have some things to show you today. The first is I finished a hat for Roxy. I was in progress when I showed you last week. This is the I Heart Cables hat by Justina Lorkowska. I love it. It is a free pattern on Ravelry and adaptable for all kinds of child sizes. And I can't remember if it goes up to adult, but I think you would easily be able to adapt it for adult. It has cute little ear flaps with the cable motif. And then I added in some color with some yellow in the pom-pom. And I did little braided strings, tassels, so that she can tie the hat. So that is finished. Like I said, it's the I Heart Cables hat by Justina Lorkowska. I actually knit one last year in a smaller size with a little bit lighter weight yarn, and my sister said it was a favorite hat, so we're going to try it again this year. So this one is my one finished object for the week, and like I said, I am super happy with the way that came out. I decided then to cast on for mittens. I talked about that. I am using the Maze mitten pattern that is by Tin Can Knits. And I thought I was almost done. I thought I just needed thumbs. And I have done an I-cord in the middle so she doesn't lose it. But what I figured out last night is that this mitten is a little bit bigger than this mitten. It turns out I cast on some extra stitches for this mitten, and I did not cast on those extra stitches for this mitten. So I believe I will be ripping the smaller one out today and starting again. So I'm not I thought I just needed to put thumbs on them this evening, but as it turns out, I need one thumb and another whole mitten. So that will be this evening's project when I get home and sit in front of the TV, and then this will be a second finished set for Roxy for the winter. So not infallible, even as much as I knit. And I really, really don't know how I did that, because I knit both of these with the pattern in front of me. And all I can gather is that I cast on like 2 or 3 fewer stitches for this one. And I don't know why. And I do know that when I was doing the decreases around the top, it was a little odd, and I didn't have exactly what I thought I should. And that should have been a clue, and I should have probably looked at that then, but I was like, oh, I just must have missed a round of decreases or something. Not true. Trust yourself. So yes, Maze mittens. I should have these done next time I podcast, and Roxy's winter set. So that is the finished object and the close to finished object. The other knitting this week has been, I have been working on my Blueberry Waffle Sock by Sandy Turner. And I turned the heel yesterday. So this is the first sock. This is in the hedgehog fiber. It is her twist sock base, and in the pistachio colorway, it has 2 different colors of green, some little flashes of pink, and some dark brown spots, and I absolutely love it. I will say that I love the way this sock pattern looks. I am quite pleased with that. However, I don't really enjoy knitting it. It is basically a sock that is ribbed all over. I mean, the waffle pattern is some ribbing and then some knitting and then some ribbing and then some knitting. And I just find that it's going really, really slowly. Like, I can sit and work on it for an hour and I'm only another inch in, and I'm just not enjoying the process of knitting it. However, I am totally a product knitter, so I want these socks. So I am determined to finish these. I hope to have the first sock finished by next weekend, and then I am going to take the second sock on vacation with us and plan to crank it out then. So I think I gave you all the pertinent details. I am actually knitting this sock according to pattern, top down with a heel flap, and I actually went ahead and knit it at 64 stitches, which I know is going to be a little roomy for me. I generally do my socks at 56 stitches. I probably should have done them at 60 stitches just to not give myself too much extra because I suspect these are going to be super roomy for me, but that's fine. They can be house socks. I am just loving the yarn, and actually one of the reasons I want to knit these faster is because I really, really, really want to put this yarn in my sock blanket, or in my blanket madness. So I definitely want to move on these and have some leftovers. So that is the second knitting project on my needles. I have found a million other things I want to knit, and I started to try and cast on. I got the Potawatomi poncho kit from Carol Sunday, and I was a little stymied in the way she wants you to knit the pattern. It's got some interesting techniques in it, and I haven't decided if I am going to knit it the way the pattern suggests or if I am going to adapt a little bit. So I tried or thought about casting that on this week. I brought it to knit night, but then once I looked at the pattern, I realized I needed a little more concentration and I needed to sit and think about it a little bit. So the sock saw lots of work there. In this upcoming week, I am doing a test knit of a hat, which I will be able to show you. I hope to finish that this week and have it ready for next week's podcast, but we will see how that goes. I am going to do the test knit as in my charity hat for the month. So, and I have some yarn set aside for that. So I'm waiting for that. The pattern will drop on Monday, and I'm hoping to get it done next week. Now, the big thing that is coming up this week is Spinzilla. As I have said before, Spinzilla is an event put on by TNNA, the National Needle Arts Association, and it is both a fundraiser for the group because you pay to get a spot on a team or to spin, and that money goes to all of the craft causes that TNNA supports. So for Spinzilla, the object is to spin as much as you can between October 5th and October 11th. And there are some prizes. I am spinning on Team Luette this year, and so I will show you what I have pulled aside to spin. So I guess I'll go a little bit backwards because I'll talk to you about what I'm going to spin, and then I will show you what I spun this week. The first thing that I am going to spin for Spinzilla is I am going to spin yarn for a giveaway kit for my shawl. So I have approximately 3.5 ounces of the Luette Merino in the Quaddy Bay Gray, and I have showed you this one both in fiber form and once I spun it up. So that is my first spin for the week. My second spin for the week is the Luette. It is wool top. And this is in the Ocean Waves colorway, which is blues and teals and greens, and this is the main variegated color for the shawl. So these two together will form a kit that I'm going to give away once the shawl releases. So those are my first two spins, and like I said, both are Luette. The next spin that I hope to complete is some Southern Cross Fiber. This was a club colorway. It is called Lady Grey after the Earl Grey and Lady Grey teas, so I thought it would be kind of a perfect spin. And actually, except for the browns, it is similar colors to everything else that I am spinning this week, so I'm definitely going to have a blue, watery, kind of oceany Lady Grey week. So this is, I believe, on Bond. I didn't look. It's a very soft merino, and I am hoping to spin this one up, and this one will actually go into the shop. So that is 3 bumps of fiber, or almost 12 ounces for the week. I suspect that is the maximum of what I will be able to get done, and that should get me at a minimum. Well, so you can, for Spinzilla this year, they are counting both the singles that you spin and your plying. So for instance, I'm going for about 350, 400 yards out of this one. So I would get the 700 to 800 yards of singles, and then also the 350 to 400 yards more for the plying. So this alone would net me about 1,000 yards. So my goal is to get a couple thousand yards done this week, and I have pulled one final fiber, sorry for the plastic bag, in case I run out, which I highly, highly doubt given my spinning time, which is a few hours each evening. I also pulled out the leftover Louette Optim that came in the Spinzilla box that I reviewed. This is just a beautiful, beautiful kind of silky fiber, and I am looking forward to spinning that. I really, really want to spin this up, and it may be my next spin regardless of if it falls under Spinzilla. Sorry about the light. It seems like we lost a little bit of it. And it's just, I guess I'm recording slightly earlier than I usually record, and the light today is a little bit off. So the final thing that I will show you is the spin that I did this week. If you remember, I showed you a beautiful braid last week from Woolly Bully, who is on Etsy. And it was an autumny braid with oranges and kind of sage greens and some purples. And that has spun up into an absolutely beautiful, beautiful autumn colored braid. And I'm afraid that you're not even, oh, that's pretty good, seeing the colors. There is that really beautiful kind of magenta-y purple, and then we've got kind of the lighter and darker greens and the lighter and darker orange and this came out to be a gorgeous fall braid. It is Falkland, and I suspect it is probably about 350 yards, I would say, sport weight or heavy fingering. I would love to keep it and make some socks, but I think I'm going to let it go up into the shop. So this should be up into the shop later today. I'm going to take some beauty photos, some glamour shots, and we'll pop that in the shop. So yeah, those colors are pretty good. So it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous fall braid. And like I said, it makes me want to knit some hand spun socks. Might have to find another braid. She will be at the craft fair that I go to. So maybe I'll have to find another braid for me this year. So that is what I have for you. I'm sorry there wasn't a ton to show. I am getting excited to do nothing but spin this week, so expect next week's podcast to have mostly spinning. The way I usually approach spinning events like Tour de Fleece, or this will be my first time in Spinzilla, but I'm going to approach it like I do Tour de Fleece, is I will take knitting along for the days that I am away from home, so work lunches, any knitting events, I'll take a knitting to knit night, but when I am home, I am pretty much going to exclusively devote myself to my wheel. So I expect lots of spinning for next weekend and not a ton of knitting. That said, next weekend I will show you some of the things I'm going to take on vacation knitting. I have a few new projects all wound up and ready to go with patterns printed out. And I also have, I'm expecting maybe some yarn to be delivered this week for a new pattern that I want to knit. So I will show you that. And then that is probably it for the next couple weeks. Before I leave, I'm going to tape a special on my shawl, and I will go ahead and pop that up the day the shawl releases, so you can look for that while I am away for sure. And we're leaning towards the third week in October, but I don't want to say a date until I'm sure that that's when it's going to drop. So just stay tuned to Instagram and Ravelry and the podcast, and you will know when that happens. So thank you for joining me today. I appreciate that you've spent a little time with me. If you are new, welcome. I hope you will return. And if you are already a returning viewer, thank you again for coming back. I so enjoy speaking with you each week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend and a wonderful week ahead, and I will talk to you soon. Until we meet again, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.